Okay. The Respiratory Therapist and Polysomnography Technologist Licensing Board meeting is convening at 9:08 a.m. on December 14th, 2021 at the Health Licensing Office in Salem via telephone conference call. I will now call roll. Jacob Espinoza. Absent. Michael LaFleur. Absent. Sarah Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Mark Easby.
Here.
And Pablo Herrera Fuentes.
Here.
And Michael Erickson.
Here.
Members, when you wish to speak, please state your last name for the record. For the record, public members calling into the public phone line are asked to email April Fleming at april.fleming@dhsoha.state.or.us and provide your first and last name. Public and interested parties' feedback may be heard during the public interested parties' feedback period if indicated on the agenda. Everyone is asked to use appropriate language, manners, and protocols when conducting board business. This meeting is now called to order. So the first item that we need to do, since Jacob, who is the chair, is not in attendance and you guys have not elected a vice chair who would automatically take over when the chair is not here, then the way that your rules are written is that the board has to vote to have somebody run the meeting. It's not that that person will become chair or vice chair. It's just that that person runs the meeting for the day. So if any of the four of you be willing to offer up your services to run the meeting, I can kind of help you through it. We'll make sure that you get the scripts. But officially one of you have to run the meeting and not me. So let's have a discussion. Anybody willing to volunteer? All right, let's talk about seniority. So, because today also you guys are going to have to vote on chair and vice chair. So it looks to me, other than for the four of you who are here, Sarah has been on the board the longest. So Sarah, normally, whoever, you guys don't have to do this, but whomever is normally on the board the longest would be the person who would run the meeting. Would you be willing to run it for today?
I can do my best. I got two crying babies outside the door right now.
Oh, that's, yeah, no. Okay, so let's look at who's next. After Sarah would become Pablo. Pablo, would you be interested?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Okay. All right, April, will you email all the information? Oh, hold on, we got to vote on it. So would somebody nominate Pablo to be to run the meeting? Somebody obviously other than Pablo.
This is Fitzpatrick. I nominate Pablo to run the meeting today.
And can I get a second?
This is Erickson. I'll second the motion.
All right, a motion had been made and seconded. I'll call roll, indicate with yay or nay. Sarah.
Yay.
Mark.
Yay.
Pablo.
Yay.
And Michael.
Yay.
All right, Pablo. April is going to be emailing you the scripts. You should get them in a matter of seconds.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay, and then I'll help you as we're going through. So hopefully you have the agenda up. And then every time a motion is made, you have to go through the roll call. Obviously, you do not have to call Jacob or Dr. LaFleur because they're not in the meeting. and you have to call yourself.
Okay.
So we're on the agenda on item number 2. So it's items for board action. And now that you're running the meeting, you cannot do the first or the second. So one of the other 3 have to. But for your next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Gotcha. Okay. For the motion script, I only see call to order.
Yeah, somebody will need, yep, the motion script should be automatically part of your, where it says that, motion has been made, and I'll call roll that thing, should be a
Gotcha.
part of your original invite, not the email that she just sent you.
Gotcha.
But it might be
Okay,
on both.
Yeah, I have that one right here now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So either Mark, Michael, or Sarah, you 3 are constantly going to have to be doing the first and the second, and then Pablo will be doing the roll call. So somebody needs to make a motion to approve the agenda.
This is Fitzpatrick. I make a motion to approve the agenda.
This is Erickson. I'll second the motion.
And then what am I supposed to say?
You're fine. Just say, hey, a motion has been made and seconded. I will now call roll.
A motion has been made. I'll call roll. Sarah Fitzpatrick,
Yay.
Mark Easby,
Yay.
Pablo Herrera Fuentes, A. Michael Erickson.
A.
Excellent. Okay, so next up is chair and vice chair. So obviously Jacob's not here today, and he is normally chair. In his term, and I spoke to him this morning, so his term does not end until 2024, and he is willing to continue serving as chair if you guys would like to re-elect him. I touched base with him and made sure that was okay since he's not here to give his little opinion. And then you guys also have to elect a vice chair because you currently don't have one. I do believe vice chair used to be James Holtz, and when he left, no, you guys just didn't re-elect a vice chair. So 2 motions. One motion, as long as that's what you guys want to do, is to re-elect Jacob as chair, and then we'll have a second discussion about who wants to be vice chair.
Easby, I motion to elect Jacob Espinoza as chair.
Erickson, I'll second that motion.
This is Herrera Fuentes. A motion has been made. I'll call roll. Sarah Fitzpatrick,
Yay.
Mark Easby,
A.
Pablo Herrera Fuentes, A. Michael Erickson.
A.
Okay, so Jacob is still chair for next year. So you guys need to elect a vice chair. Obviously, Dr. LaFleur cannot be elected. He is continuing to serve until replaced. Obviously, we don't have a replacement. But other than that, so it would be one of the 4 of you, because you also do have a current position that is vacant. But that leaves the 4 of you. So if one of the 4 of you would like to be vice chair, you could state your interest now.
This is Fitzpatrick. I'm willing to do it if there's no one else who would like to.
Does somebody need to
Sounds
say I move, or do I have to go first?
Pablo, you can't, you're running the meeting, so you can't start anything.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, this
So
is
either-
Erickson. I make a motion to move Sarah Fitzpatrick to be the vice chair of the board.
This is Easby. I second the motion.
All right, this is Herrera Fuentes. A motion has been made. I'll call for roll. Sarah Fitzpatrick,
Yay.
Mark Easby,
A.
Pablo Herrera Fuentes, A, Michael Erickson.
Hey,
All right. So Sarah, next year, if for some reason Pablo can attend, we will have you run the meetings, but hopefully, or sorry, Jacob. Sorry, Pablo. Jacob, if Jacob can't attend, then you'll be run the meetings. And we'll, like I said, we'll help you. It's once you've done it a couple times, it's actually pretty easy, but. All right, so let's move on. Next item is the 2022 meeting dates. And we have picked out March 18th, June 24th, and October 7th. And as long as nobody has any issues with those dates, they're all 9 a.m.s. And that one would assume they're all Mondays, but I haven't looked at that. Sammy, are they all Mondays? Fridays?
Fridays.
Fridays. Oh, today's a makeup meeting because you guys couldn't meet before. Okay.
this is Erickson. I move to approve the 2022 meeting dates.
This is Fitzpatrick. I second the motion.
All right, this is Herrera Fuentes. A motion has been made. I'll call the roll. Sarah Fitzpatrick,
Yay.
Mark Easby,
A.
Pablo Herrera Fuentes, A, and Michael Erickson.
Hey,
Okay. All right, we're on the agenda. Item number 3, reports, director's report. Couple quick things. Genetic counselors is a new program that we just started. We're currently accepting applications. We'll start issuing licenses January. The first open day is January 3rd. So that makes us up to 17 boards and programs versus 16. The other thing is we're also opening our doors back up to the public on the 3rd. We currently are open by appointment only and mainly only allow individuals to come in who need a test for a license. But those are appointments and appointment only. And then once we do open the doors back up, we still will be doing testing by appointment only because we have so many of those scheduled already and so many applications submitted in advance. And we need to still limit how many people come into our lobby. So we can't just automatically open back up. So we're kind of doing a soft opening when it relates to the exams. Individuals will be able to walk in if they need to like renew or update something, but the exam stuff will still be scheduled. Other than that, more on the COVID-19. You guys are all hopefully pretty familiar with everything going on. However, one of the big things is the health authority, public health, is doing rules. And so wanted to make sure that you were aware, and if not aware, then we could send you the information. And I do believe Sammy's working on getting it sent out to all licensees. But a couple of the rules that they're opening and working on becoming permanent, they're going to have public comment period. One is the rules regarding masking and vaccination requirements for all healthcare settings. The other rule is regarding masks being worn in indoor spaces at all times. So they're having the rules are open. And if you guys need information, obviously let us know, send us an email, but Sammy's making sure that the information gets out if you don't already have it. There's another one about requirements for schools and related to teachers and staff. One would assume most of you do not work in a school. If you're interested in that, as part of the information too. But there is a copy of the rules and then the rule schedule and then the time when there's the public comment and whether you want to write in a comment on the way the rules are written. So they'll obviously affect you guys extremely, especially the healthcare settings one. And so if you're interested in that, let us know. Hopefully you already get it, or your hospital already has it, or your employer or whomever. So, but let us know if you have questions. The other thing is the fee increase. So we've been talking to you guys about the fee increase for several years now. Well, that actually goes into effect now come January 1. So anybody renewing at 12:01 a.m. on January 1st, if you renew online, you will pay the new rate, which is double what the previous rate was. We'll get to more of the details of the financials on the licensing and fiscal statistics, which is coming up next. We can talk a little bit more about it then. But we've sent out lots of communication. Sammy's been really good about communicating that out about it occurring and what's going to happen. And like I said, it's the 12:01 a.m. on January 1 is when it goes into effect. So any questions before I move on? No, okay. So let's go to the statistics. I am on slide 13 of your materials. So this is an interesting little chart. It just shows licenses issued, broken out by our weird years and quarters. Remember, our year starts July 1 of every year. So it's the quarterly average, or it's the averages for the quarter, or the numbers for the quarter. But you can see there the provisionals. So there was several respiratory therapist provisionals, which is the COVID, people who were licensed in another state who came to this state to help with the COVID pandemic. So those are in the orange. The next slide shows licenses renewed for respiratory therapists. And you can see here a vast majority, not quite 100%, but pretty dang close, of the individuals renew online versus paper. There's still individuals who like to do through the mail stuff. Next slide, same information, but this is for polysomnographic technicians. You can see there Q2 of fiscal year 21, 128 did paper, only 2 people did snail mail. So I'm on page 16. The next slide shows active licenses by age and gender. When it has male, female, and then other, people obviously are not required to say whether or not they're male or female if they did not want to. And so that's where the other comes in play. But you can see that it's becoming a female-dominated field. Yeah, because especially at the ages of 26 to 33, there's like 3 times as many females as there are males.
Wow.
It's an interesting switch because I do believe back in the day it was different. It was the opposite. And then I'm on the polysom slide. That's the same information, male, female, broken out by age. And again, it switched, the younger generation, it's more female dominated. Like twice as many. Interesting. Next slide. So I'm on slide 18. This just shows the long-term trend of licensing. So polysom way back in the beginning, we were, about 302 or 310, sorry, 302 at the beginning, up to 310, currently at 296 and really pretty steady. Respiratory therapist, you can see over the long term has grown. And then obviously the next slide, what's the provisional COVID? That's the one for out-of-staters that came in. Obviously skyrocketed. Well, 5 is not really a skyrocket, but up to 5 people. That's related to some of the rural hospitals having a really hard time getting respiratory therapists, and so a lot of out-of-staters coming in to help cover for the COVID. And then the temporary licenses, that's usually all over the place, and that's just individuals hopefully coming in to get permanent license. The next slide, which is slide 19, that's the financials. That's the one where it shows your cash balance going down, going down, going down, going down, going down. So you can see net operations all the way back to 2017. We're operating in the negative. So which means that you are bringing in less revenue than you are sending out expenses. So that's where it says the -28, -48. Currently, we're at -24, and that's just from July of 21 to current, which would be as of November 18th, which is like the last closed month. So this is why, and the fees are increasing. And so hopefully this will get, everything back into the positive soon. And then once we do get to the point where you have a good cash balance, because you obviously need a good cash balance in order to be sustainable, and in case there's some case that needs to go to hearing, that kind of thing. Our goal is once that cash balance gets back up to where it's supposed to be, then we will be able to reinstate that online renewal. So that's why it was interesting, why I talked quite a bit about, if you go back to the percentage of people who renew online. So like on slide 14. So all those individuals who renew online, once we get that back into place, will be able to take advantage of that lower fee. But again, that will take time. We got to get that cash balance back up to where it needs to be. And then eventually we'll get that put into rule where if you renew online, you'll get some sort of discount. So I know the fee doubling is quite astronomical, but it is needed. It's needed to get this, you guys' cash balance back up. And then hopefully once that, and part of it also is looking at that long-term trend of respiratory therapists. And if it continues to keep growing, that means more people paying in, more people paying the fee. And that means the faster it will get back into the positive. And then also it means the faster we'll be able to issue a discount for renewing online. But any questions on the financials? You guys are easy today. Okay, let's move on. We're on the regulatory report. So slide 21 of your materials. Bob?
Hi, good morning, everybody. So we've finished up all the cases in 2017 biennium. In the 19 biennium, we have 4 left open, and the investigator that's working on those, we had a pretty big case come up in this current 2021 biennium. So he stopped, because I recall at the last meeting I told you we'd probably have these, if not all of them, closed out. So he'd had to stop to work on another case from your board. So that leaves us with 4 still open, 10 from the 21 biennium, and we have 1 from the new 23 biennium. But we're slowly getting them peeled off. Questions, concerns? And we'll bring them to you as soon as we get them together.
Okay. Any questions for Bob before we move on? No. All right. So Sammy, let's talk a little bit about, so I know we're doing like a makeup meeting because we had quorum issues before, and we had sent you, and mind you, this is a long time ago and you guys have probably already forgot, but we sent you a lot of information. So you know that survey that you guys have to take every year in order to renew, it's the workforce survey. So they had accumulated all that information and put it into a document. And so Sammy had sent that to you guys as part of the materials, and she can kind of explain what that was what it was all about. And then the other thing that we thought about, because we were talking about this before, is all that information now is completely outdated due to the fact of COVID and all the things that have occurred because of COVID. So when Sammy's talking about it, and keep your mind around the fact that it's probably information that's pre-COVID. So Sammy, go ahead and do a summary of, and I don't know if you guys remember that report sending it out, there's a lot of information in it, but.
Yeah, so I'm just going to summarize. There were several documents that were links in your material. So basically, the report says that Oregon's becoming more diverse. Since 2016, the percentage of white people has decreased from 83.4 to 80.3%. And so it's 3.7, and that many other racial groups have increased, but all this breaks down individually in the charts per profession. So you'll see that there's charts for each of your professions. women are overrepresented in lower level healthcare professionals, and men are overrepresented in more formal training, i.e. doctors, dentists, things like that, which I thought was interesting. There is a healthcare provider incentive program they talk about, where in the 2021 session is funded $17.6 million, basically to give money to rural areas, financial incentives for healthcare providers and students studying to become health professionals. So you can apply for that. That's also in the materials. And that behavioral health, which I'm sure everybody knows, is mostly concentrated in the Portland metro area, and the rest of the state is very much underrepresented with healthcare professionals. So that's kind of an overview of everything. If you have questions after you read through it, give me a call or email me, and I'm happy to walk through it with you. Any questions about that?
Can you, this is Herrera Fuentes, can you remind us when that was sent again?
Yes, so it was originally sent before your October 8th meeting in the materials, and it's just one slide, and there's links in it. It's slide number 23.
Gotcha. Thank you.
That's all I have.
All right, thanks, Sammy. We are on public interested parties feedback. Bob, who's monitoring the phone?
It is April, and I just talked to her, and there's one person on the phone and no interest in making comment.
Okay. We will move on to other board business. Is there any other board business that anyone has? Everybody's very quiet. Sammy, yes.
Yeah, so hold on. I haven't got the Callie Johnson letter that talked about the vascular, intravenous vascular procedure. I'm still working on that. I should have that for the March meeting, something for you guys to see. I just didn't want you to think I've forgotten about it. It is on my list, I promise. And that's it.
Anybody else have anything? All right, so if you think of anything between now and March, what do we say?
March 28th? No,
March 18th.
18th.
Then just email one of us. We'll get it on the agenda or address it if we need to. Hopefully Bob will have some cases that you'll be able to. You'll find out when we send out the agenda for March 18th. If it has an executive session on there, then we'll be talking about some cases. So
Could be a
all
long
right,
day.
if no, it might be a long day. We'll see. All right, so if anybody have anything else before we get ready to adjourn? No. All right, Pablo, you should have a script that is at the very, very bottom where it says adjourn.
Yep. All right, this is Herrera Fuentes, the Respiratory Therapist and Polysomnographic Technologist Licensing Board. Meeting is adjourned at 9:36 a.m.
All right, April, if you would stop the recording.